Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Drive Report in association with Jeep. A limited series where we explore just what makes the Jeep Grand Cherokee the brand's benchmark in luxury off-roading and what the Grand Cherokee's unique and wholesome attributes bring to the luxury SUV space. In this episode, we go beyond the surface and deep dive into the Grand Cherokee's all-new interiors to see what Jeep's luxury benchmark has to offer. Chrome and top-end leather are what immediately greet you when you step inside this cabin. It marks a really strong evolutionary leap for the Grand Cherokee's interior design, with double-stitched padded leather covering the top of the dashboard, and then as you come down there's this open woodwork that extends all the way to the door panels and this finely meshed ensemble of classic and contemporary design. A cabin that feels really insular, it feels really fortified and rich, and the all-black treatment lends it a very, very sporty vibe, which is exactly what the Grand Cherokee is all about, because this is a mix of luxury, performance and off-roading, as it happens to be the benchmark SUV for Jeep India at the moment. Of course, there are several touchscreens starting from the instrument cluster. Then we have this 10.1-inch central console which packs the latest Uconnect infotainment system, and there are a lot of highlights to this. But what I particularly like to begin with is the fact that they've also thrown in a few analog buttons, which is kind of essential because you don't want yourself fiddling around while driving. And well, we were given opposable thumbs for a reason, and it's so that we could pretty much do this. Now, when it comes to the screen itself, the Uconnect infotainment system is very intuitive. It's very crisp and sharp, so there's literally no lag, just the lightest of touch, and you can access everything that this has to offer. There's obviously Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is wireless, but in addition to that, you have a lot of controls which are very easy and right in front of you. It's all very legible, very lucid. What I particularly like and appreciate are the front and rear view cameras, which take up the entirety of the screen, provide this very high resolution display, and can be just cleaned remotely from here, which is actually quite a blessing given the kind of terrain that this is designed to go into. So all I have to do is clean camera, and it's already pretty clean at the moment, as you can tell. But in addition to that, there is a surround camera, of course. It doesn't activate when you're on the move for safety reasons, but while you're stationary, you can clearly tell everything that's around you. And when it comes to its contemporaries, especially in the European market, these features tend to be offered at a much higher price point. So it's quite heartening to see all these features available here. There are also buttons on top which allow you to essentially activate the hazard lights, turn off traction control, lane assist, and some of the other ADAS features that are there in this car. There's also a manual button to turn on or off the passenger screen, which is what I'm going to show you now. Now here we have a feature that really helps distinguish the interiors of the Grand Cherokee from the rest of its European contemporaries, and that is a special screen that's designed just for the use of the front passenger. It's designed primarily for multimedia use because all the other controls and functions are accessible right here. And the way it's been made is to ensure that the driver doesn't get distracted. So if you're sitting anywhere other than right here, the visibility of the screen is quite dim so that it doesn't really get, it doesn't distract the driver. And up here, of course, you have an HDMI port, two USB ports, two USB-C ports. So pretty much all your multimedia needs can be dealt with right here. The controls are very simple. You can control the brightness, you can turn it on or off. There's a manual button here as well. You can connect your headphones via Bluetooth, and then you have all the functions for music and to play videos. And this really it's a seemingly small feature, but we have to remember that the cars that tend to feature things like these tend to cost almost twice as much. And given that this is the range topping trim, Jeep has only made it available in one single top end trim, which means all the bells and whistles, all the goodies that are there in the Jeep parts bin has been thrown at this car. And it's clearly visible in the way it's been lavished with quality, the way it's got all these features, which really at this unique price point aren't to be found that easily. But that said, there is a lot more to be looked at. You've got 8 airbags, so safety is also a major strong point for this vehicle. It's black, it's classic. The woodwork kind of is a throwback to Jeeps of yesteryear, which famously had like wood paneling. But no matter which side you look at, it's the detailing, it's the real minutiae around this car that tells you there's a special emphasis that's been put in this car. And there's a reason that the Grand Cherokee has the word Grand in it, because it separates it from the other off-roaders, even globally, in its lineup. So instead of going with the Cherokee, they've decided to just bring the best of it, locally assemble it, offer it at a competitive price point, so that the best of this very unique brand of Americana is available to a growing number of Jeep customers. In addition to that, there are several other features. So to begin with, there is a digital rear view mirror, which actually makes a huge difference, not only when you're driving, because it relies on the camera at the rear to provide you an image of good level of brightness. So especially if you're driving around in the dark, you don't really have to worry about visibility at the back, because this will give you a much better view. And given that it has such a sizable boot, you don't actually have to worry about long distance journeys. If you're going out camping or you're just driving away for the weekend, you can absolutely stack it with luggage and supplies, and you don't really have to worry. Especially if you're planning to go out camping, you don't really have to worry about rear visibility being obstructed by all those items, because this kind of takes care of that, and you only have to toggle between this and the regular rear view mirror to know what a difference it makes in terms of visibility. Of course, you can adjust the brightness here, you can adjust the angle of the camera as well to your liking, so there's really no compromise on that front. Then there are other smaller factors which on the surface may not seem like they make like that big a difference, but in reality they make a huge difference. So yes, of course you get ventilated seats with heating features both for the driver and the front passenger, but in addition to that you also get a heated steering feature. And yes, those living in the tropical belt of the country, especially cities like Mumbai, may not feel the need for it, but SUVs tend to be very popular up north, where the winters are really biting, and there a feature like this can be a godsend, especially if you decide to take this to the mountains, which is really something this car is designed to go to. There is that. There's also a neatly integrated heads-up display unit, which is kind of blended within the dashboard, so there's no pop-up unit as such. You can control the level of information that it provides you. Again, it's another passive safety measure that has been incorporated, because safety has become a very major concern for Jeep, and everything from the compass to this product are sort of exemplary in their focus on safety. Of course, your cruise control, ADAS features, everything is very easily accessible through a brand new steering design, which also incorporates a bit of woodwork to further emphasize the fact that this is ultimately going to compete with luxury cars, luxury SUVs, and is a top-end luxury product by an American brand. There is that, along with the fact that there's a 9-speaker Alpine sound system, which really amplifies the driving experience should you want it to. It's all very manageable, it's all very well within reach. The buttons are chunky. They've not bothered with swipe and touch enabled surfaces, which can get a bit cumbersome, because in order to manage costs, they've made sure that just the right level of details and the right amount of garnishing has been there. And speaking of which, there's a knurled sort of aluminum drape knob to control the gear functions from drive, neutral, reverse and park. Of course, you've got these nifty little paddle shifters which are sort of not imposing, they're not really protruding. But should you want to take control of this 8-speed automatic ZF gearbox, then you obviously are free to do that. And there's also a little chrome trim around that. So all in all, this whole sporty, insular feeling isn't just visual. When you do shut the door, it does aim to disconnect you from the harsher aspects of the environment around you. And given its ground clearance, given its off-roading DNA, you can pretty much take it to however harsh an environment you feel like. And that rugged, raw appeal of a Jeep is still very much intact in what is otherwise a top-end luxury car.